I love thrillers. I love to read them. I love to write them. I'll tell you, sometimes I struggle with certain storylines that I've written. I want to talk about Insider X here. This is a suspense thriller, techno thriller, conspiracy thriller. When I write conspiracy thrillers, they're fiction. I'm usually basing it, though, off of a lot of articles I've read, a lot of research I've done, and a lot of assumptions or maybe kind of inferences I make of what I think is really going on out there. And when I wrote this book, I knew that a lot of what I was writing about in this book, even though it was fiction, I knew a lot of it was happening. And I guess, in many ways, after you put a book out like that, you wonder if you've done the right thing. I guess I think about like maybe Tom Clancy when he wrote Debt of Honor. He published that in 1994. That was basically a storyline where you had a pilot that basically took a commercial airline and the plot was, and he crashed into the U.S. Congress during a joint session. And it was obviously made for a great thriller, but I wonder if he ever wondered in 2001 when 9/11 happened, if he bore any responsibility. I'll tell you, I struggle with this book because I think that, what I was writing about, I knew was happening. And I think, I guess when I think about it later as I realized that it was going on, and I could see it from my research and what was going on. And it's a very scary thing, but I think I've always thought that truth will set us free. I mean, I kind of like, take the red pill or the blue pill. I'd rather take the pill that basically sets me free. And if you've ever heard of the Matrix, but that's the thing, is that sometimes the truth can be a little scary, and this definitely does paint a truth that is frightening. And I realize why people around the world are reading it, because I think they probably want to know the truth. And if you're one of those folks that out there that would rather know what's going on, and I'm talking about this book will basically do a spotlight on sort of the seeds of dissent that basically destroy us from within. And I really, as a U.S. patriot, I always, thought that when I put this book out there, that it would open people's eyes. And it did obviously open a lot of people's eyes, but it hasn't opened enough people's eyes, because obviously it needs to be read everywhere. Because once you know the truth, how they control us, basically what's going on, these ways that they break us apart and they divide us. Once that's known for what it really is, and I'm talking about social media, I'm talking about, even this video right here, I'm talking about the techniques that these bad actors use to manipulate us and try to control us. This book, Insider X, really shows all that. It's done in a great story, a very fun, kind of exciting fiction story, but it's not really fiction. A lot of this is nonfiction. And I found that out over the years that